Welcome everybody to How Fast Will It Go, and today we're dealing with the 1967 Volkswagen Type 3 1600L, though it has a far bigger engine than a 1600 litre engine now, as or a 1600cc engine should I say, as it now has a 4 litre twin turbocharged flat 6 engine, producing 960 horsepower and 630 pounds-feet of torque. The car itself now weighs 2,227 pounds, has all-wheel drive, and it can now do 0 to 16 3.036 seconds and 0 to 104.85 seconds. So yeah, far faster than it ever was originally, and far more powerful as well, despite this being easily one of the more powerful Beetle-based vehicles that Volkswagen did at the time. But yeah, if it's going to be quicker than the Karmann Ghia, then I'll be satisfied, as that only managed a time of a speed of 234 miles an hour, being the slowest car that we've had on this series so far. So I'm hoping at least we can be quicker than that, but any more than that, and yeah, I'll be happy. So yeah, let's get out there and see what it can do. Not expecting this to be the easiest of cars to drive either, because it has very little in the way up front, a much heavier engine at the rear. It's producing way more in the way of torque and the like, so yeah, we're already past 200, which is good, but yeah, you can feel it wobbling around. And we've accidentally collided with the barrier there, so that's slowed us down, so we'll rewind a little bit. Yeah, you can feel the lack of traction up front. Right. Oh, let's get in a straight line a little bit. That's 230. Yeah, there is no traction at all on this car. And it doesn't help that traffic is being a bit unwieldy today. We've got a Citroen C2CV on right on our front and can't really manoeuvre around it. There we go. Well, we've beaten the Karmann Ghia at least. 238 miles an hour before we collided into the back of a BMW. It's 239 before we hit the back of a Reliant. So yeah, we're far from the slowest car that we've had on this series so far, but yeah, it's really a case of more power than handling and capability as well, because yeah, as soon as we start getting up to this amount of speed, it's just wandering around because there's no real weight up front and it's being lifted up. And yeah, it's just starting to. I don't even have to hold the steering wheel or move the steering wheel, and it will start wandering around as we accelerate. So yeah, bit of a glass cannon car here. We've seen this with several other vehicles in this series where they'll manage their top speed, but then they'll struggle to get anywhere near that again. So hopefully that's not the case with this. Hopefully we can at least get up towards 240 this time on the other side. So let's see. I mean, in instances this looks like it's about to grip roll at times as well, so yeah, this is definitely a car that is out of its depth when it comes to these kind of speeds and this amount of power. And yeah, the lack of weight up front also means there's a lot of understeer. It's very hard to keep it in a straight line in terms of correcting it with modest corrections. You have to be quite violent with it, but then when you are quite violent with it, it will understeer. So there's a real fine line between keeping this car on the road and crashing it, which is obviously not helpful when you're trying to do a top speed run. You want the car to be as stable and as predictable as possible when doing this kind of thing, and this just is not that. So yeah, 239 is all we're going to get out of this today. Got helped by a Horizon truck there. So yeah, this is just a car that is way out of its depth, and it's just not capable of dealing with these kind of speeds and power. So yeah, bit of a shame considering it doesn't weigh all that much, and yeah, it could well have had the potential to be faster, but probably not by much, especially given how unpredictable it is in terms of handling. So yeah, 239 means that we have been able to match the Austin Healey 3000 Mark III, beaten the Morgan Freewheeler, Willys MB Jeep, and obviously the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. But we are 6 miles an hour behind the Morgan Aero Supersports, the Mercedes-Benz SL65 AMG, Volkswagen Beetle, and 7 miles an hour behind the Triumph TR6. So yeah, not a particularly great car, and definitely one of the weirdest in terms of handling characteristics on this series that we've had, but at least it's not the slowest, and yeah, not the slowest car based on the Beetle either, so yeah, it does have that going for it. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!